guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're talking about dehydrating some eggs for a long-term storage. As a prepper, you probably think it's a great idea to be able to dehydrate some eggs, put them in Milo bags and stash them away for a rainy days, because technically it works out to be much cheaper to be able to dehydrate your own eggs than actually to buy powdered eggs. Well, at least here in the UK anyway. So in this video guys, we are going to be looking at dehydrated some eggs, and at the same time I'm going to debunk certain myths that I see on YouTube videos about dehydrating eggs and people asking questions or giving actually advice suggesting to people that it is a best idea to dehydrate scrambled eggs rather than cooked eggs. So of course, knowing me guys, before I'm doing the video, I normally put my mouth into the action and actually research and do my own research and do the things and then give you the final results. So first of all, I wanted to cover the common misconception that I can see constantly down online, saying that it is very dangerous to dehydrate raw eggs because of the salmonella. Well, first of all guys, I have chickens, okay? I've done my research generally in the whole illness thing, but not every chicken, and at the same time, not every egg carries salmonella. It's actually a very, very rare case of the chicken having salmonella and having it obviously in the eggs. Secondly, there are people suggesting that apparently your egg, if not dehydrated properly or dehydrated for too short or too long per part of the time, will actually develop a salmonella. Well, again, wrong. The egg would just not just develop salmonella. If chicken already carries the disease and bacteria, and egg will carry the bacteria. If the egg is healthy without the bacteria there, even by sitting there in your dehydrator, it will not develop salmonella unless it's actually already got it. And finally, guys, the salmonella is not heat tolerant. So if you dehydrate your eggs above 71 degrees Celsius, which will be dehydrating them at 74, it will kill the bacteria. At the same time, don't forget, if you store your eggs properly, and then of course when it comes to dehydrate them or rehydrate them, you will be scrambling them, so we'll be cooking them again. So technically you're literally minimizing your potential of having salmonella altogether. So this is the thing that guys, that when you see the tons of videos online and people doing the suggestions, and quite often they actually have their comments disabled, because for the obvious reasons, because half of the time people just talk a lot of nonsense, and people do this again, like I covered in many videos guys, people do this out of the use sake and out of maybe lack of knowledge, I don't know, but it's actually not that complicated and not that scary. On another side guys, right, people are talking about dehydrating dehydrated already cooked scrambled eggs, and hey presto here guys, I did exactly that. So when I had springtime, obviously have a lot of eggs coming in, so I've dehydrated 40 eggs because I thought, well, how wrong could they be? Well, there we are, this is 40 eggs and it's pretty much wasted, okay? And again, hang on to the end of the video, which I'm going to be comparing the two options of the raw eggs and dehydrated scrambled eggs to see the final results. Positive note guys, however, if you're wondering if it's generally a good idea whether the eggs actually keep their nutritional value, well, they do pretty much 99%. On average, 100 gram eggs got about 21 gram of protein. So when we dehydrate the eggs, we are keeping all that protein there, and of course some other fatty acids and other good things there. So yes, you lose a little bit in the whole process of dehydration, but the majority of the goodness still remains there. So guys, without further ado, let's scramble some eggs. So for this instance guys, we are going to be doing 8 eggs. I've got my Excalibur here ready. I've got 3 trays. The idea, like with anything, especially when you're dehydrating things that are liquid or pureed, the thinner the layer, the quicker the things are dehydrating. And on average, people say that eggs take about 10 hours to dehydrate. In my instance, I actually found the thinner layer takes as little as 4. Okay, again, it all depending on humidity and many other things, and of course the dehydrator you use, but as a ballpark figure, let's say it takes between 5 to 10 hours. So 8 eggs, let's get them broken. So guys, the eggs are broken, so let's give them a good whisk. So guys, the eggs are done. You can use any sort of food processor if you want to mix them in, but it really doesn't matter. So I have my silicone trays here. Let's do a couple, it might be enough. Okay, pull them out. Okay, so the first one's going in. I'm putting them in the middle for the minute. Make sure I spread this around. Ooh. Okay, put it in there. And the last one. Okay. Right, so last one's going in. Okay, be careful, don't spill that. Okay, so I'm going to put that on in a minute, guys, at 74 degrees. Like I said, I won't put it on now because you won't hear me talking. But, so what's going to start happening, guys, as normal with any dehydrator, the ones that are at the back and the thinner level starting to dehydrate faster, and you'll see this crackling like a desert sand type thing. And in the middle, quite often it pools in the middle, and you start seeing that it's changing color, starting to go white, like the white basically started cooking. It is quite normal. It seems to be normal because after a little while it will just dehydrate itself, and it doesn't seem to have an effect at all. So I'm going to put this on now, guys, and I'll see you when they're all done. So guys, here we are done. So it took approximately 6 hours, and this is what that looks like. You know how it's done when the eggs are literally brittle. Don't be surprised when you do it. There is a little bit of oil. This is quite natural. They are high in good oil, so that is a-okay. But as long as it all crumbles and looks like that, then it's absolutely fine. All the trays are identical. As I said, it will start drying around the edges a bit sooner, so there we are. So anyway, next step is, guys, for you to basically just make this and pulverize it to powder. And I've unfortunately learned the hard way when I was doing my 40 eggs. I used my coffee grinder. I thought one of these little ones, and I thought that would create a finer powder, because the finer powder, the better is the end result when we mix it with water. And unfortunately, I burnt it out. I literally had to rush outside because it started smoking, so that wasn't good. So my next thing was actually I had a NutriBullet, and I don't know why I didn't use that before, because it worked absolutely perfectly. So all you got to do, guys, put this in your NutriBullet or whatever that you guys have, and basically pulverize this into powder. So I'm going to put them aside. I'm not going to show you doing this, obviously. It is self-explanatory depending on what you have. And then in the end of the day, okay, you will have your final results. So as you can see, okay, the colors are slightly different. Yes, the quantities are different as well, because 40 eggs, and I think I did 8 eggs in here. So the color is slightly different. So to rehydrate our eggs for our experiment, you have to add on a double amount of water to the eggs, okay? And leave them to sit for a good couple of hours. So initially you might see, guys, they're from the powder. However way I pulverize, they're using the same machine. The dehydrated eggs are the cooked dehydrated eggs are just a bit darker, and the particles are just bigger. It's, to be fair, it's totally understandable that when you dehydrate something in chunks, it's just going to dehydrate unevenly, and some parts are going to get darker, the ones on the outside. When you have something like raw eggs that go flat, it just seems to have a better result. So I'm not kind of surprised that when we are rehydrating that, it looks totally different. Or not perfect, by all means, but different. And the color difference between two is absolutely obvious. So, okay, next thing, guys, like I promised you, let's prove the point of. So I've got my hob plugged in. So first thing we're going to do, guys, let's plug it in. Oh, let me grab some oil. Voila. Okay, and let's actually cook our dehydrated scrambled egg. Hydrated scrambled egg. So I'm going to put a little bit of oil in here. Okay, as you do if you use oil when you cook your eggs. Let's put the temperature up, and right, that's what that looks like. It looks nothing like a egg that you whisk together. Okay, some people suggest you can use a whisk. By all means, you can use a whisk, but it makes no odds. It literally makes no difference. I don't know how many times I've attempted doing this, guys, just to try to get to the result I desperately want it to be, okay? But anyway, here goes the eggs. Okay. What's happening here, let me turn it down. They are starting to bubble, And the effect we're getting is a very wet sand, dehydrating water coming out of it, creating the bubbles and more wet sand. The color is disgusting, okay, and it just evaporates water. It basically will bring us back to the stage of initial dehydrated dried eggs. This is the point, guys, right? This is disgusting. So, but nonetheless, right, let me get this out of the frying pan because I think it's finished cooking. I think it's bravely to say that it's done. So let me get this into here. There you are. I bet you're looking forward to me trying this shit, aren't you? Right, okay. So this is done. So in the name of research, guys, we are using the same frying pan for obvious reasons. Okay, so I'm going to spray a little bit more oil in that. And we're going to add on our raw eggs, okay? So on they go. We'll turn it up. Just started to boil in a little bit as well on the sides. So the initial similar results in terms of reaction with heat and sand is similar, well, pretty much the same. But as now, guys, right, as we're starting to have a little peaks, they're starting to have this little wibble effect like you get in a scrambled egg. And it technically, if I now spread this across, I can press it and it will set into a piece like an omelette type thing if you really wanted to. So the difference in is actually huge. Okay. So I think our scrambled eggs are done. So, and then let me turn this off. This on, and let's put this on there, and then I'll zoom in for you to have a look. Okay. Okay, guys. So this is a difference. This is what we have cooked in terms of eggs, right? Look at the color difference. This is a little bit more like a normal scrambled egg, and this just looks like a bit of a scratched biscotti type thing. Do you know what I mean? It just looks really sandy. Right, so next thing will be a taste test. So guys, I've got the spoon here, and honestly, I cannot tell you how many times I've done this, but in the name of research and for you, I'm doing this. Okay, so this is the first one. This is scrambled, cooked, dehydrated and rehydrated egg, and it is sand. It's literally, guys, it's like eating sand. It's awful. And one thing to point out, guys, because we cooked it on the hob, obviously, to scramble them, and then we dehydrated this, it seemed to oxidize a bit more, hence obviously the color ends a slight little fishy smell. It is normal for the eggs. When they oxidize it, you do end up having that kind of smell, but it's just tad what unpleasant, and you just cannot get away from the graininess. Okay, you just cannot get away from that. So that's that. So the scrambled egg, the raw scrambled egg, let's give that a go. It is much better. It's not perfect, by all means, it's not perfect, but I think if you add on a little bit, I don't know, whatever you have, a bit veg or something, not in the SHGF scenario, you might have some kicking around, but it is just that little bit more palatable. Don't forget, at the end of the day, we're talking about the SHGF scenario, and at the end of the day, many people say you'll eat anything. You know, you literally probably eat shit if you have to, excuse my French, but in the end of the day, you really don't want to, because that really going to get the morale down. And to be fair, however people say they've done this and it's not the same, and I've seen people like burning it to create an omelette. It is absolutely disgusting. You're better off eating soil probably than eating that. It's just absolute nonsense. This I can live with, okay? It is, honestly, it is okay, and it is doable. So guys, moral of the story is, have I stupidly wasted 40 eggs on this shit? Yes, I did. Unfortunately, I did. And I feel like I'm kicking myself for this because I think it's gutting. However, in the end of the day, okay, that powder, okay, is going to sit for a very long time with the oxygen absorber or in the jar or in a Mylar bag. So because I have wasted so many eggs in there, I'm just going to repackage this in the Mylar bag with the oxygen absorber, and I'm going to put this in my pantry, okay, and hope I never have to use this again. The worst case scenario, because of the texture, what it is, if you're doing any kind of baking, or not baking, but cooking something, okay, if we're doing some bean stew or something like this, I can add on some spoons of that into it to still get our protein, because at the end of the day, you still have the protein, you still got the goodness in there, it just tastes absolutely really badly. So that's that. Hopefully it's not going to go to waste, but hopefully I never have to eat that ever again. And with this stuff, guys, yeah, would I dehydrate some more raw eggs? Yes, guys, I think I will. To be fair, I think I will do. I've done 8 eggs there, so I think on the off chance if I have again influx of eggs, like 40 eggs, I probably will do this again and put them away. To be fair, when we're talking about again putting stuff away, people say you can add this on to your bacon in terms of use that as a substitute for eggs. There's no way that will act as a raising agent in your cake. There's just absolutely no way. It's not physically possible having that done. After reconstituting that, it just would not work. So I know there's a lot of information, and some of you might tell me otherwise because you've seen it somewhere or you've tried this, but logically it makes no sense at all. So I'll still have some done, and I'll still have them put away again for the sake of protein and different desperate times. But otherwise, guys, that kind of answers your question. If you bought the commercial eggs, it potentially could be a slightly better. You probably get a maybe slightly better result because it's a finer powder. However, the price of the powdered eggs, it's like you better invest your money. If you want protein, you better invest your money in some powdered porcini mushrooms, and then you powder them, or literally dehydrate some meat and powder it. Just because to me, it kind of almost pointless to the extreme that I'm like, well, is it really worth it? But anyway, I'm gonna leave this decision up to you guys. The proof is in the pudding, okay? You cannot dehydrate and rehydrate scrambled eggs because it's just waste of time and it's waste of the eggs, and you cannot eat that, and this is that. So there we are. Decision is up to you. So anyway, guys, I do hope you have found this helpful, and hopefully some of you will be not making the same mistake I did by learning from my mistakes. So please don't forget, thumbs up, guys. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Bye bye.